pride, it's not arrogance, and sometimes it hides behind our insecurities, our fears, our frustrations. That's how self-centeredness is, and even at times our need to be appreciated, to be understood. These are all forms of self-centeredness. Hi everyone, I'm Sandrine Tengu and welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk and share everything about books, how we can apply the knowledge, the life transforming powers found in books in every area and every aspect of our lives. So stay tuned. So today I'll be talking on a book written by Andrew Wommack. A small book titled Self-Centeredness, the Source of All Grief. Like, this book, it's small but powerful. I was blessed for this book by December last year, and I've been able to read this book like I cannot imagine how many times I've been able to read this book because it's so realistic, like it's so practical, because grief is one thing that we deal with it on a daily basis, and sometimes we overreact and we are being self-centered because we've not understood where that grief and pain is coming from. And that is why that's why I titled this video into 3 different parts. I hope I have the time to film all 3 parts today. Part 1 of this video will focus on self-centeredness, because that is where everything starts. Self-centeredness. Part 2 will be on the root of all your pain. Where does all this pain comes from? And part 3, how can we overcome all this pain? How can we overcome self-centeredness? Part 1 of this video, understanding self-centeredness. You know, the first time when I was recommended by my mom to read this book, you know, the first thing I was being defensive. I was like, oh, I'm not self-centered. But then when I began to read this book, wow, I realized how much pain, you know, I suffered from because of being self-centered. Like, this book made me to realize that self-centeredness is not all about, it's not pride, it's not arrogance, and sometimes it hides behind our insecurities, our fears, our frustrations. That's how self-centeredness is. And even at times our need to be appreciated, to be understood. These are all forms of self-centeredness. See, self-centeredness is something that we deal with it knowingly or unknowingly. And since then, I've been able to handle my self-centeredness. Like, if I'm faced with an awkward situation, maybe quarreling or arguing with someone, the first thing I'll ask myself is, I'll pause and ask myself, son, like, where is this coming from? Am I being focusing on myself, or am I trying to understand things from that person's perspective? Like, I know it is very hard because both of us don't want to put ourselves in other people's, shoes. We don't want to feel what other people are going through. Let's start doing things for people without expecting anything back. Like genuinely doing things for people, even when a friend comes up to you with an issue. First thing first, if you can try to bring yourself out from that situation and like try to reason things from both perspectives, you would see a lot of pain, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of struggles, a lot of offenses, will be greatly solved. I know it is hard, like I still struggle with this because self-centeredness will keep struggling with it for the rest of our lives. Like, it's something you will work on. You would work on, but the most important thing is it will help you to save you from a lot of pains, offenses, you find yourself in. You know, there was a particular part Andrew Wommack wrote in this book. He said, every problem in our life comes because we are thinking about ourselves. When I read this, like, I was really defensive. I was like, this is not true. You know, I really reflected on it, and when I began to ponder and reflect, and even some instances in my life where I had misunderstanding, quarrels, it was because it was all about me. So, like most of the struggles we have in our lives, if you think about it well, it was because you were being self-centered about yourself. You were focusing only on yourself. You know, like, okay, examples in our day-to-day life, like when someone offends you, you felt like you were being disrespected. When you are anxious, maybe about someone, or you're anxious about anything, it's because it's either, if it's about someone, it's either maybe you lose the person, or you're unable to see that person. Or maybe when you're discouraged, it's because you feel like things aren't going your way. You know, please, are you trying to understand this? Like, when things are not working out, it's because things are not going your way, my way. You're getting it? And even when we are dealing with people, this doesn't mean that we should overlook what people do to us. But if you can be able to identify where the problem is coming from, and you walk up to that person and like, please, I did this and I didn't expect you to react this way. It is better than us harboring anger and resentment, you know. And there was this part Andrew said, you were born selfish, and this is something that we all will keep struggling with it, because when you were born in this life, he explained that human beings are selfish creatures by nature. As a newborn baby, you came into this world self-centered. Mom labored several hours for you to safely arrive. She was very tired and had been living in a degree of discomfort for quite some time, perhaps even a couple of nights. Like a baby, when a baby is hungry, the baby doesn't care if you're sleepy, you're tired. He has to cry. He needs the attention of the mom, the dad, or whosoever is around. So that is our nature from birth. We were all born self-centered. That's why as children, even when we are growing up, like for a child, if he needs something, he knows that if he cries, that thing will be given to that person, will be given to her. So that is how some of these natures are being now groomed into us as we are growing, being self-centered. And there is this scripture I want to read from Philippians chapter 2, from verse 3 to 4. It says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of others. Well, this is so powerful. Doing everything, not valuing yourself, but putting others first before yourself. So that is how I began practicing this on a daily basis in my life. Like when I'm upset, the first thing I'll ask myself, Sandrine, where is this coming from? Or why am I hurting right now? Is it because I'm focusing on myself? Is it because I'm being self-centered? This has made me, and this has saved me from a lot of grief and pain. And it is not like this book is telling you not to grieve or not to feel whatever you're feeling, but when whatever you're doing, you should try to know why you're doing it. And you know, it is amazing and much lighter when you stop being the center of, you know, of everything. So one key takeaway I want you to take from this, from part 1, is self-centeredness is subtle. It can look like worry, insecurity, discouragement, you know, or even self-pity. But the moment you begin to recognize it, you shift your attention to God, transformation begins. So every time, every moment you feel pain, pause and ask yourself, Where is all of this pain coming from? Am I being focused and centered on myself? Am I thinking only about myself? From there, you will realize how calm you will be, and you will just realize this kind of peace.